Sweetie. I'm not sure what it's doing. It's supposed to be going, but it's not. There. There.
You guys, hello. Yes, and yes, it's a live show.
Lordy.
What? Can't hear me? Can they hear me? Is my sound on, John?
As far as I know, it is.
We think so. So wave if you can hear me, but you can't wave.
Yeah, wave. Yeah, I think the good old days.
Wave. I can't hear you either. So what an adventure we're going to have tonight. I'm sorry we missed last night. We were all set to...
we were all excited. We're set to go.
We came home from a trip, and neither air conditioner was working. We'll tell you more about that big drama in the show, but we can't run all the lights, the computers, and all that stuff. We have to have AC up here in our art studio. But in celebration of what you're going to really want to have to do this painting, and so you can practice those before you ever do the painting. Yes, I just had that brilliant idea, and then we're going to do a painting by Alfred Sisley. He did it in late 1800s. He was a French artist, one of the Impressionists. This is Impressionistic style. And you sock folders, I'm going to bring you right along. You just follow me. We can make it, right?
So we're going to come kicking and screaming.
We're going to have what was called organized mess. Okay? So that's good, right? Not clutter, organized mess. And then we're going to do a drawing because last Monday, even though it was premiere, we had some people enter at the very, very last part of the show. There were
we couldn't have waited any longer until the very end.
So just a handful of you entered, which is really fun because we're going to do a downloadable lesson. We're getting close to the holiday time, so we're doing a really super duper downloadable lesson for those of you who hung here with me. It's over $100 value. You won't believe it.
I can't believe you're doing it.
A Salvador paint kit. That'll be the two. And then also we'll be giving you the secret word somewhere in the show, not telling you where, but that'll be the secret word for next week's drawing. And then we're going to tell you about the auction that's starting Friday, all kinds of stuff. So John, let's give a big shout out to our mods. If you haven't subscribed, wow, the big S, like super subscribe. Yes. Backwards. Have you ever tried to draw?
It's going to be a show tonight.
Okay. Yes. And we got some mods there. I know Liz is on
we have
vacation.
Some mods. We have the L Factor. We have Liz C2, Lynn, Luann. Is Liz one there?
No, she's got out of town guests.
Oh, no Liz. Oh, so we've got three of them. Three of the quad. And Steffi.
Hi, Steffi.
So Steffi's the one that stands out. Judy must be running around somewhere, but I haven't seen her blab in a moment, but she's here, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yep, there she is at the very top.
Hi, Judy. Okay.
So everybody's here but Lady Liz.
Yeah, she's off on an adventure up in the Appalachian Mountains.
Lucky gal.
Yeah, she and her husband are out there for a little hike. So, anyhow, if you guys want to, I've got a little 8x10 canvas here. It's painted. If you read my wonderful poem, wasn't that a great poem? Really kind of stupid, but it's fun.
I thought it was adorable.
The poem is on our acrylic Painting with Ginger Cook Facebook club, which is free. And if you haven't joined that, now is the time to at least jot it down so you remember to go over there after the show and join. And then you can share your artwork and share. You've been painting some of my tutorials all along, or maybe you're one of our Academy Fine Art members and you've done one of the lessons. We love to see what you're painting. Post it up. I love to see what you're doing, what you picked. It helps John and I. If I see a certain trend, a lot of people are painting a certain thing, we're liable to do a few more of those things, And of course, you can always ask. You
never know what we come up with.
So we've got this 8x10 canvas. It's just got some leftover paint on it, but it's basically kind of orange and yellow. And we're going to do Cicely's picture.
Orange and
yellow. And it's a little landscape. It's a farm. And I liked it because of all the fall colors. And I thought it was really cute. So, and then here's our test canvas. And
that is really a nice test canvas.
Now, we have not been in the house for three weeks. And yet, apparently we have some paint in here, John. Where's the paint?
Well, no. You couldn't have used it. No, you have to start afresh.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. I would have put it out sooner. Well, this is where
I told you I did a bunch of backgrounds with the paint that was in there. What do you think would happen to the paint if I used it? It would be gone?
Yeah. Just
Hey, we want to say a special hello to Juanita, who's joining us this evening, and she's feeling much better, I understand. So let's
kind
say,
of rough week, but
a
hey,
rough week.
Juanita, feel better. Yes and yes. Okay.
Think pretty colors. Pretty colors. We love pretty colors.
colors. So,
So while we're filling that out, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We apologize for missing last night's show, but 92 degrees in the studio, the staff didn't like it. And you know how the stuffy staff can be.
I'm going to have a lot of this painting. If you think about the average painting, particularly landscape, being divided somehow into thirds, not necessarily equal thirds, but like 3 parts. You've got the foreground, the middle ground, and the background.
Oh.
So in Sisley's painting, he's got the foreground coming kind of down here like this, like that. That's the foreground. And then he's got the background coming like this, because these are all trees. And if your trees look a little different, well, you know, they grow every day and the branches move and stuff happens. So that, you know. And then in this area here, did you print me out something, John? A little sort of a cropped version?
I did not give you, nope. Mm-mm.
Were you going to put it in the iPad or anything for me? I was going to get some of that. So, no. So.
You said you were going to wing it, and I trusted you.
Well, no, then you said, I'll put, boy, this.
Well, then we realized what time it was.
The communication that's happened in this household is fantastic. Don't you guys think so?
I think it's perfect.
so. I think it's perfect. So we're going to put a couple
I
little houses.
will come up. Well, see, you're already sketching it, so it won't match what I'll give you now.
Well, probably not now. I mean, now.
So do you want me to do you one or not?
No, because I'm just going to,
That's what I figured.
I don't think so.
Both images are in the iPad, though.
Are they? I didn't see them.
Oh, let me check my iPad then, because that's the same as your iPad with only my iPad.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, it was put over there earlier.
I didn't think. Oh, both of the ones. Okay, both images. Yeah. Okay, so I got.
Yeah, they are.
They're the one that I kind of changed.
Oh, there's the cropped one.
Oh, you found it finally.
The cropped one's in my iPad, which is in your iPad because we're on the same account. You got to go back a few, but there it is.
Well,
I was clever. I knew what I was doing. Put it in
there. Where's all this buses and stuff you took?
Hey, we needed that info. It's the third one before that. You got it?
I see it. Yeah, I see it.
See, that's
I was pretty close here. I mean, not too shabby considering that I was making it all up kind of off. The thing of it is it's a longer picture than an 8x10, and so we had to condense it somehow, like a Reader's Digest.
We had to make it a YouTube version.
So we wanted to make it easy enough where you guys didn't say, "Oh my gosh, I can't paint that." Charlie, did you see that? They want us to paint that picture. Where does this woman come up with this stuff? We didn't want any of those conversations, right? So I want to just take a minute. Do I have a chalkboard here somewhere? I think I do. Here, let's just talk a little bit about houses because there's some house rules, you know. This was an example of Twombly and stuff, but we're going to move on to other things. All right. So this is so simple, you guys, right? If you have a roof that goes like this one is the twin.
They need to be parallel.
And then this is parallel top and bottom of the canvas. That would be here and here, yes? Straight lines down here. Now, a lot of times you could draw a line down here and then like right from the point straight down, and then you could come, here and here like this, and this would be at a slight angle, right? But usually you have stuff. But in this European house, they just left off this side of the house. Apparently they didn't need it. So I don't know. And this was a little longer. But this is basically the house. And then over here, they had another house, which is your typical A, the letter A. But try to get it kind of equal on both sides. And then you've got this roof line here. Now, what happens to this line? It can't go this way, friends. No. It's got to go. It's got to be parallel to the first one. So this and these lines are twins. Yes? All right. So if you just understand that much, these are like little Monopoly houses. So simple to make. And I know you're going to get it easily. But sometimes it just doesn't, a little refresher course in scale and how to do all this is never hurts.
Never hurts.
And I'm, like I say, I'm going to do a few less little houses than he had. But I do like this kind of, I guess they're barns because this is some sort of garden. This is some sort of happy, the garden is overwhelmingly exhausting when I look at this and think, man, someone's gardening that. Are you kidding? Look at all the weeds that you'd have to take care of. It's a big garden. But then people didn't have grocery stores like we do. They probably made a little living selling some of these little croppy things here.
I think that's called food.
Yes, it is.
Croppy things. Oh, I'm going to go to the grocery store and get some croppy things.
But see, all this is sky up here, everybody. This is all sky. So we're talking about, I give up. What are we talking about? So on an 8 by 10 canvas, assuming I can still see the ruler, find something with numbers I recognize. Okay, so there's this is 8. So right up here, you know, and 4 would be half. So just slightly about an inch above that is where the top of the trees start. Okay? So good to know those things, yeah? Now, I think while I'm putting out paint.
And we have a quick question.
Sure.
What size canvas you on tonight?
8 by 10.
Is that an 8 by 10? It's an 8 by 10. Yeah, it is.
It's an 8 by 10. So
8 by 10.
So we want to take a moment, and while I'm putting out paint, I'm going to do some titanium white. I could use Salvador, but I've got a bunch of other stuff out here. I think I'm just going to use it because what the heck, right? We're going to take some titanium white, and then we want to do. There's a lot of golds in his picture, and this paint has been sitting here without capless. That sounds almost exotic, doesn't it? Capless paint. Look. That's zinc white. We could have some of that for sure. And we'll put some of that out. And could I answer some questions, John, while I'm putting out paint so we just don't sit here and...
Yeah, Becky Quick would like to know a question. Each episode is different. What size do I need to keep on hand?
We're trying to keep 8 by 10s and 6 by 8s for YouTube.
6 by 8 and 8 by 10.
Occasionally a 9 by 12, but not, you know, occasionally...
No bigger than that.
But certainly no bigger than that.
Not for YouTube.
You know, for the Academy, we're going more...
we'll go as high as 1824.
1824 is a lot of what we're doing. And
24 by 24.
And 9 by 12s. And yeah, well, John has those things. Has that mentioned, right? This is quadrichrome magenta. You cannot mix that color if you've asked. No, you cannot. So let's see, what do I got here? There's kind of a checklist we had to do. This air conditioning business really threw us off. Anyway, it's a good reason to be thrown on. We came home and neither air conditioner was functioning. This is ultramarine blue. Okay, neither one. And luckily, we have a local company that John and I have done business with for several years. And so we called them up, and they said the soonest any of the monkeys could come over there and help us.
No, wait. Let's
name the company. They're called air monkeys.
Yeah, they're called the
air monkeys.
Air conditioner monkeys.
Air conditioner monkeys.
AC monkeys.
Yeah. So
when we refer to them as the monkeys, it's not being disrespectful.
No, that's what they are.
They are monkeys.
So when can we get a monkey, right?
Yep.
And nobody, they were all working. Well, guess what? We're in the middle of some sort of pandemic, in case you've missed it. And there's nothing to be found anywhere, not in the grocery store, not in air conditioning stores, not in car dealerships, nothing. Everybody's out of everything. And hopefully there was an even Freon. I mean, this is just a thing, right? So hopefully, here's some cad yellow medium.
Good choice.
That's a good one, too. Hopefully... You know, when they could come at 6 o'clock. Well, we knew that, you know, there was no show yesterday because, you know, we start at 5:30 and the room needs a couple hours to cool. Here's some raw sienna. It's a nice color. It's a nice, good color for this. And I'm using, that's a Holbein. I'm going to grab a few of those. And here's a cad red medium. That's one of my essential reds. You can get along often without naphtha crimson, but I have a hard time getting by without cad red medium. That's a really important color to have.
That is your orangey or red.
Yeah, and here's our phthalo blue here, so we'll put a little of that out. And because those are good colors to have. And let's see, what else do I want to get you guys here? This is, no, I don't want that. I love these. I love all the paints. It's fun to have all these paints. Because this is nickel azo yellow. That's a Holbein color. You don't have to have it, but it's nice to have. don't know that it'll make. I haven't painted this painting, so I don't know if diddly squat if it's any good or not. But you know, you got some gold, yellow paints. This would be a good time to round them up. How's that? And I really like this cadmium orange from Golden. If you're doing fall paintings, that's a great orange color to have, and it's very bright. Now, some people feel, and that acrylic paints in general just feel too bright for them. They like painting with them. They like everything about them, but gosh darn, they're bright. So what you want to do is use what we call a unity color. So when you start a painting, there's about 4. Look for it in our next newsletter. We're putting out a newsletter right before the auction. I'll tell you what the 4 unity colors are. So that means you've got to sign up for our newsletter. Well, I'll give you a hint. I'll tell you one. If you want to know the others, we'll put it in the newsletter. Raw umber being a unity color. And the trick is you put it in all the color, like adding salt to a meal, and then, or maybe even pepper, and then where your center of interest is, you leave it off. And those colors draw attention, but nobody knows why, because they're just slightly brighter. It's an interesting technique. I learned about this, 50 years ago from a Walter Foster book he called them mother colors. But I think unity is a better explanation for that than just mother color. This cad red light, here we go. Nice bright orange color. So that was different than cadmium orange. This was cad red light, and then you had this cad red medium. You see those 3, and then you had magenta. And remember, red is what you call a primary color. And what that means is you really can't mix it. So, you know, red, blue, and don't all scream at me at once. Yellow, yes. Those are your primary colors. So if somebody says, well, I always wonder what kind of extra, I've saved a little money, I want to know what other paint I should buy. You know, it doesn't hurt to expand on your reds, doesn't hurt to expand on your yellows.
Especially if you're doing flowers and things.
Yeah, flowers and things, those are the kind of things. And people say, I didn't realize you specialized in flowers. You know, we started doing a lot of flowers because everybody on YouTube liked them. But there was never any intention to specialize in any flowers, really. It's so
or
funny
anything.
To me. No.
We like to paint anything and everything that interests the crowd.
Yeah. You know, for instance, this is a color called the alizarin crimson. This is a great fall color. It's almost the color of burgundy wine. Not the same as quadrichrome magenta. It's more of a burgundy wine color. Okay. And let's see what else. I have a lot of paint here. We're using it today, man. I'm just going through the drawer saying, what could I pull out? We never do anything. Let's do something fun.
Hey, we'd like to thank Kendra for the donation that came through the PayPal link and donation method. Thank you, Miss Kendra. And we would also like to thank Sharon. The large traceables being broken down into multiple pages that only need to be taped. This is a blessing. And you are a blessing for the donation. Thank you, Sharon.
Oh, gosh. And I'll tell you what, this is the month we really need it, you guys. This just did us in. That turned out, as I'm putting this paint out, we had to replace that air conditioner. It was the one, we had one that exploded. One he was able to fix, and one something exploded in the backyard. And apparently, if we'd have been here, it still would have exploded. But that was the studio air conditioner. And what was the good news is that there actually was an air conditioner that they still had that we could.
That wasn't claimed yet.
That wasn't
they
claimed
had one
yet.
left.
Yeah, and everybody, I mean, we found it because, you know, remember I told you our car got totaled. So,
we went
to buy another car. We can't find a car anywhere. And when we looked out of state, they was, I'm sorry, did you want to buy one of our cars? We're saving it for our in-state customers. And so it's been, and then every time you go on, you know, one of these car sites, let me just keep painting as I'm talking to you because you don't really care
I really
about
wish
cars.
you would.
But anyway, everybody said they're all claimed. They're all claimed, and then, no, we're not taking orders. Did you think we were taking orders? Silly you. So anyway, that's okay. I have a little car that we can drive around in, you know, and we're fine.
You would like to know, would VAT, that's VAT, orange, be an okay substitute for cad orange?
You know, I don't know, Cynthia. I would have to check my color mixing journal.
Do you have that handy?
Yeah, but my hands are dirty. Can I look at it later?
Yes, let's try to remember that.
Because
Cynthia, if we forget it, just remind us. Say, look in the color mixing journal for your oranges. That'll remind
Yeah,
us.
I just here's the raw umber, and I'll show you how that just sort of mutes some colors. We're gonna use the raw umber as a unity color a little bit today. And I think I still need some purple out. Let's see, what do I got? Yeah, purple is one of those colors that's very nice for fall. So here we go, a little purple.
If you have signed up for the newsletter and you are not getting them, use the contact us and let me make sure that they are being sent to you. Spam folders are always a good place to look for them. And if you look under if you search for Ginger Cooked Live in your email, you should find them if they have indeed been delivered.
And this is a color called Marigold. And I love this color. It's you can kind of make it, but it's with a little red and orange and yellow, but it's really just, it's almost the color of this. See that? It's
Yep.
the color of this. Holbein. Somebody says, well, what is Holbein paints? You know, I never heard of Holbein paints, you know, like 3 years ago. I always used Liquitex or a heavy body or Matisse or Golden. Those are pretty much my go-to colors. And then Cinnamon, my daughter, the art trooper, who would shout out, say hi if, you know, if she or my granddaughters are around. The grandson,
Anybody?
she
Any
said, look,
relation.
she said she was at an art show with her brushes, art trooper brushes, and she ran across the Holbein people, and they said, Mom, she says, you got to try this paint. It's really good. It's made in Japan. And apparently it is such a nice paint that other paint manufacturers consider that the standard. That, you know, they got to meet the Holbein standard. Okay. At least that's what we were told. Of course, Holbein told us that, so I don't know. Probably true, though. I just think it sounds true.
I would think so.
Sounds true, yeah. Now, when we traveled, John, we took all our paintbrushes. Did we bring any back?
Oh, you wanted to actually use a paintbrush? You don't have anything out?
Well, you know, let's see what I got. Let's see what I can come up with. No, don't want that. I feel like Goldilocks here in the Three Bears.
Well, I grabbed them all when we took off.
John grabbed them all, and we did some neat paintings. While he's looking, you want to see something I painted on the trip? And I'm going to turn this into a lesson. You guys want to see something cool? I love this. This is Cozumel, and you see my little dog down here underneath this old truck? That's going to be an Academy tutorial soon. You know, we have to film it yet, but that's my pre-sketch on that. And then while we were gone, we did, this is another one that we're going to turn into Academy lesson. This is on Old EG. That stands for Old Dead Artist. And Old Dead Guy, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, John is so, he's right on there, isn't he? So we're going to turn that into a painting too. So just want all the yeah, all of those, and the little pointy one. He wants all the, we want all the stuff, right? So if you're not using the Bristol on brushes, and I know that the brush guys are out of them all the time because we recommend them, and once people discover how good those are, these angle silver's the brush company. The Bristol on, once you discover those, it's really hard to go back and to anything else because you get used to the texture and the feel. Let me just hand you these, darling. So, all right. So it's John is getting ready to sit down again. I'm going to start with the sky. Now, I want to say that most people just do a sky and they go, whap, 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 whap. That's a start, you know. But now, if you think of art as a language and whap, 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 of just a plain sky like that, just all one color, is like a word. We're going to increase your sky vocabulary today.
Cool. Okay?
That's what we're going to do. We're going to increase your art vocabulary in terms of skies. Because Sisley had all these clouds kind of going at an angle. And it's interesting because the type of clouds you use in your artwork say what time of year it is. You can do a whole study on just look it up on the internet, the different clouds that happen different times of year and how high they are up in the sky. So even though most of us don't know diddly squat about clouds per se, we all kind of in the back of our minds know something about clouds because somehow it's just there. So you look at a painting, and if the clouds are at the wrong elevation or they're the wrong clouds for the wrong time of year, something's off about that painting, but you couldn't say what, even if the sky was painted perfectly. Wow, that's something you wouldn't think, isn't it? So I'm going to dampen this brush.
Are the Bristol-on brushes as smooth as the Ruby Satin Silver brushes?
They're a little stiffer. Ruby Satin Silver, something happened to them.
They changed their formula.
They changed their formula.
The
They didn't used to be. I noticed a real change. They got softer on me, and I didn't like it. I need a very, very pale blue. All right, so I'm going to start with white.
Oh, wait a minute. We have a tidbit of information on Holbein.
Yes.
LL says, my husband says that Holbein paint is scientifically formulated for each pigment and has excellent Japanese quality control. I have to agree. I mean, it's very consistent.
Oh, yeah, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. You know, and the other really good American company is
Golden.
Is Golden, and they're really good too.
You put those two together, and you got a winning combination.
I mean, look, if you were doing watercolor, there was an artist that did a book. Gosh, I don't know, it was 25 years ago. And if you wanted this particular green, you had to get that brand. And if you want, you had to get like 10, 15 different brands to have your collection of paints. And for most of us acrylic artists, we have our favorite brands. I like Matisse too, but they come across the sea, and
it's not consistent.
They're not as consistent for me as some of the others, but they make some good colors too. So they're good quality paint for sure. So I'm going to paint some white up here. Do you see that? And then I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo blue and a drop of raw umber. See that? Now here's our blue. We'll take a little bit of raw umber. See that? And I'm just going to tone that blue down a little tiny bit of ultramarine blue now. Because remember, a lot of times people will use something called
my chat keeps disconnecting, so I can't chat because it wants me to re-sign in every time, and I have to quit everything. So there'll be no chatting from me this evening.
All right, so that's the color. You see, it was sort of a combination of raw umber, ultramarine blue, and phthalo blue, and white, mostly white, like 98% white. And as I add the more white down here, I'm just going to lighten the sky up a little bit more even. And here's a little thing you can take to the bank. Put a little bit of raw umber in that, like 1%. Is that your sky gets lighter as it goes down to the horizon. All right. You see how the raw umber kind of ages the picture? And let's take a little bit more of this white and with our blue color. And a tiny little bit of this, a little bit of yellow in that. A little bit of yellow oxide, I think. There we go. I'm just going to bring, let's see, a little more blue. Okay. I want it lighter down toward the horizon. I'll just kind of go over where I think my trees are going to be.
Acrylic paint and gouache together?
No.
Well,
they do make acrylic gouache.
Yes.
So
gouache is typically a watercolor.
It's a different technique.
So
we have two really good YouTube videos on gouache on our channel that we did when we were traveling on a cruise one time. All right, so you see there's my sky. Now you notice everything's sort of at a little bit of an angle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some white and some, I think this was yellow, a little bit of yellow, Prince raw sienna, white, a little bit of raw umber. Okay. And I want more white. Okay, so now a little bit more. Let's try raw umber again. There we go. More raw umber than most, okay? Now I'm going to just come on up here and show you. This is step one on this clouds. We're going to go across this like this. Now I'm going to tap the clouds. That's not quite right yet. Let's put some more white on here on the brush. I'm going to tap the clouds kind of like this so that the top and bottom are irregular. And I'm going to go across the canvas like this at this angle. And as I do it, let's see, get a little more raw umber in here. As I do it, let's see, I'm going to wipe some of the paint off right like that. As I come across here like this, you'll notice I'm leaving some of the green, which would be the blue in this case. But you see, this is the technique. thick and thin pattern like that, and keep it at an angle, and you're just sort of tapping it. So no straight lines. Try to get it very irregular like that. All right. Now you've got it a little bit thicker up in here. So those were the clouds that he put in. Then we have to go back when they're dry and put a little white on them when they dry. So that's how I'm going to do these. You saw that. So I think I'm just going to, I think the color after watching that, I think the color I want is just going to be, here, I'm going to paint on the back of this.
Oh, great.
You need this?
No.
Didn't think so. I'm going to paint on the back. I'm just looking for the right color. That's umber and white, I think is probably where I'm going with this. Yeah, about like that, because that looks like old age clouds. All right, so now I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to tap this on here. I'm not brushing it. I'm tapping it using this wide angle brush here and allowing for some, some irregular holes to come through. Okay. And I'm going to come across here like this. And then let's take a little zinc white, because that's very light, and it's come up this way. Here's our little bit of clouds up this way. All right. Now I have to come back and fool with these a little bit. In fact, John, get ready to show some stuff why I dry this, because I'd like to dry this before I go on with my trees. You see, they get thinner as they come down to the bottom, but you want to see this blue through it. And right back up in here in the trees, we'll have something a little light here. So John's going to get ready to do that.
Ooh, I'm getting ready. I'm excited.
And so anyway, so the guy went to the air conditioning store. So our guy,
Our monkey.
they were there till 10:30, almost 11 o'clock last night, installing this air conditioner that they had. And we just after understanding about shortages right now, we're glad. I don't know, Houston's got several more months of hot, and not several more, at least several more weeks of hot. Anyway, we've got hot coming. And now see, I'm going to just swirl that a little bit, and we want to make sure that we can't work if it's hot. We're in our studio if we can't film or anything, and of course, which is what we need to do. So, John, I want to take the hairdryer and dry this and skin it over a little bit, and then I will go ahead and put the next layer of cloud on, because it's going to be darker underneath. The light's kind of coming from above, and so the top part of this will be lighter. All right, everybody understand what we just did? Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
and yes.
Okay. John, and this is our brag time, where we brag about some of our artists, because I know you guys are going, oh, well, Ginger, of course she can paint it. Can she teach anybody else to paint it? I'm telling you what, we're teaching the world to paint, and you won't believe these artists and what they're able to do now with personal art coaching.
Okay, while she's out doing that, let's take a look at B. Rose. I believe it's her, or Bay Rose. She's one of our newest artists, and she did the cat clip and did an absolutely stunning job on it. I kind of like it a little better than Ginger's, because I like how she did the extra brush strokes down in the bottom fur, a little bit thicker, and some unusual colors, which I really like. Next up, we have two people that did our cowboy, Home on the Range. This one is by Marilyn. Absolutely gorgeous. I think hers is 20 by 20. I think these are both 2020s. Nice big ones. And we really, a lot of people have done this painting, and they have done a fantastic job. This is one of our more difficult lessons, so to speak. And they were able to muster through them and get them done. I have one more from Sally Ann. She also did the cowboy, Home on the Range. And that's Sally Ann's. And beautiful job, both of them, ladies. All three of you guys have some wonderful, wonderful artwork, paintings this time around. We'd love to share your artwork. Anytime you're an Academy member, you send it in for personal art coaching. It's considered to be one of the prizes that we put up there as far as sharing. I believe the queen should be about done. Do I have anything else I can show you? I don't think so. I'd like to put up the secret word for today. Let's just pop that over there for a brief moment. So that will be the references you want to use for the drawing for next week. All right, my queeness, you're back. And I'm even going to turn your mic on.
All right, so my mic's on?
You're on.
All right, so this is a little ruby satin silver brush. You see it's pretty old. It's another little short angle. And I'm going to take a little of the zinc white, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to just tap on the upper part of these clouds. Just tap on a little bit of this light color, like that. I want the light to come on top. And the reason you want to do zinc white is because it's transparent. Okay? There are... let's see, we just kind of pop on it on here like this. Now, one of the things the Impressionists did was that they would paint outside on location. And the reason they would do these little dabs of paint like this, okay, is because their paint never dried. They didn't have the benefit of a hairdryer to do it. And so they had to be very carefully, it's like not disturbing the layer underneath to put another piece of color on top. It's tricky. And not, so some of it would sort of skin over and then they'd add the next layer. Now, there were some things you just had to wait for it to dry. So, for instance, there was this one artist, and he was confined to one of the Impressionists, I forget which one, he was confined to a hotel during some sort of war uprising. It really wasn't safe for him to leave Paris. So he had like 10 or 15 canvases, and he was just painting on all of them and, different layers of dry. Then he'd paint something else. And that was one of the other tricks that they did, too, was they'd paint on that, something like that. Just different layers of canvas. Okay, so now different canvases and drying at different layers. So now that's our sky. Now I'm going to put in this back row of trees. Now the color I want for that, so I want a real dark army mud green.
Ooh.
So we're going to start with blue. I think I'll just mix it on here so you can see it. I'm going to start with blue. That would be ultramarine blue. And we're going to get some yellow. Yellow. So that's pretty muddy, right? And then I want a little bit of
Which
purple.
yellow do you use?
Purple. So see, I've got that. I want a little darker, so I might add even a little bit of red to that. Because red and green are complements, and so if you add a little complement, it darkens it. So that's a really good muddy green. See that? Let me just show you here on this paper. See? So the first layer is going to be this, we're going to come on up here, and I don't think I have to do a chalk or anything, but, well, I guess I could. So basically, I want to start up here kind of like this. Remember what I showed you, and just suggest that there's some trees here. And I want to take just the tip of the brush like that and make little dots overlapping. There's a little bush that maybe leave a couple little holes in it so the birds can fly through your trees. And it's going to come all the way down into here. I want all this dark. I don't have to get too clever with that, but I want all that dark. But as I come over here, there'll be some gold trees on top of this. I'm just going to tap this in a little bit like that. And let's get some more paint. And we want to come across here. I don't want to get too wild with this, but we're going to say that there's these dark trees. And remember how we made them. Right? There's our greens, a little bit of red, alizarin crimson. We've got this nice dark green. And the thing about color, you can go with value, but paints, some of these paintings from the old days, in the time when these guys were painting, maybe they faded over time, or they, too many photographs, they don't allow you to just take flash in museums anymore because it fades the paint. And so we don't have an exact representation of the colors. We have a pretty good idea of what they were able to do. But, so you want to get the values, and your monitor may look a little different than mine. And if you don't have enough, when you're painting something like this, if you don't have enough uh, colors, or the color isn't quite right, you can add right to your canvas, you know. So let's see, and let's take some of this alizarin crimson, maybe magenta. Let's make some of these a little redder because it's fall. We could suggest that there might be some red tones to some of these trees too. They might have turned. Don't want to get too crazy, but we could do that. And we're going to say up here like that. So I'm just tapping in this, and then back in here, over here, there's going to be a yellow tree. Okay. So now here's the brush strokes for that. All right, you ready? Here's the brush strokes. You want to take this corner of this brush and start there, like a little woodpecker, start tapping and move the shape around. If you want sort of a wiggly like shape in your mind, just create that. Right? Just a little, have enough paint on the edge of that angle brush. And you know, because if you do the wrong, it won't work. It has to be on the long pointy end of the angle brush. And you know, that's how you're creating these trees. And this is very light, you know, you don't have to do much. If you got it too solid, you go back with a little blue when it dries and poke a few holes in there for your birds. Avoid making lollipop trees.
But we used to do that.
Yeah, no lollipop trees. Yes and yes. Okay. So that's what you're painting. But that is the brush strokes for that. So let's put a little bit more yellow and blue up here.
Hey, we'd like to thank Tammy for the donation that came through PayPal. Here's a bad joke for you about the AC. The inventor of air conditioning has died. Thousands of fans attended his funeral. Get it, fans?
Oh.
Okay. Okay, a little heavy for some staff members. Elizabeth, thank you for your donation as well. Thank you. I appreciate you both more than you know.
Thank you.
That is Liz C3.
Oh, thank you very much.
And Goofy Pascal, I thank you again for your donation.
Thank you. We appreciate it
We
very
certainly
much.
do appreciate it.
I think when we came home and saw that broken air conditioner, we both almost cried. We just were going, no, we can't have that. It was just too sad.
So we got right on the phone to the Air Monkeys. So if you're in the Houston area, that's what you want to use, I'm telling you.
Yeah, if you live in, they're worth it, you know. And then, yeah, and the guy was so sweet. I mean, who works they had already done a full day, these two kids. You know, one was probably about 20, and the other guy's still, like, been doing it for a long time. He's like in his 30s, but they've been working on air conditioners all day, and they were willing to come work at our house, and because we were giving them a hard time. I figured they had to come back the next day, you know. And John says, "What did you tell him?" It's just like, "We're gonna get it today, right?" We're gonna get it today, because he was kind of hassling him a little bit, and we did. So I mean, you know, that is, people always talk about customer service. That's customer service.
That's above and beyond.
That's above and beyond, and we're just so ever so grateful for that. Now you see how I've come down to here and kind of suggested that this is where this goes. Now I got to have yellow on top of this and orange. This green has to dry a little bit before we get too crazy with that stuff. Yeah. So this brush, because here's the other thing. I feel like we have to have these chats, because I didn't get to chat with you last week person, but I got to tell you now, here's the other thing, is that you never quite get the paint out of a brush. So you can stay in the blues and greens, and that's in the browns, and you're okay. But you've got to switch to yellows and reds, get a clean brush, or take soap and water and wash your brush. Because even if you rinse it and wipe it, it's never quite as clean. Okay? So,
if you have find Azo Gold, any suggestions?
Yeah, Azo Gold is Australian sienna. It is a really good one too. Australian sienna, or just raw sienna and burnt sienna, it's fine. You know, Azo Gold is a transparent. Some of these colors are just kind of, they stand alone on their own, and some you can kind of combine. There's a book you can get. Do you remember that artist handbook? It's called the Artist Handbook, and it has all the brands of paints and which color. Because people, it's like lipstick. They like to make up colors. You know, if it's the same color, they're just going to give it a new name. So, or they change like two things, like, and it's almost the same but not quite, that kind of thing. All right, I want to take some white paint and a little bit of raw sienna, And I want to come down here and I'm going to paint my house in like this. I want to paint the house. I'm going to get both houses in here like that. Now, this is just sort of a fun thing. I don't want you to get, too panicked about your houses. We're just going to keep them very simple. It's impressionistic painting, so we don't want to go too nuts. Yes, we're just going to try and see if we can't put a little bit of burnt sienna with that, so it's not quite the same color. That's the other thing. If you've got a box, one side's going to be lighter than the other. So in this case, we made this side of the house, this little house here, we made it just slightly darker. Can't have them both the same color. And then there was now see, we want to play a little Russian roulette here and put the chimney right there in white, right there. Okay. There we go. Okay, so there's that little chimney thing there. And I'll tone that down after a bit. Here's this other one. Let's lighten this one up. That little house right here. Here's this house right there. And then we'll take a little bit of the raw sienna and or rather burnt sienna. This is burnt sienna. We'll come right here like this and just say, remember I told you they only had this part of the house, or maybe the rest isn't showing because of trees. For whatever reason, you don't see much of this little house right here. You're just seeing this. Again, we'll just make that a little darker.
Chris would like to know, you mentioned washing your brushes between complementary colors. Do you use two different wash buckets when you are doing your rinses while on YouTube?
No, but I have. Can you show it? I've got a bucket like this with
It has
different
three
water,
compartments.
different compartments. And I don't. I'm just, and sometimes it's do what I suggest, not what you actually see me do. There's always that too. You got to go with me on that, right? Not just, well, I mean, sure, yeah.
In the ideal world, you have a bucket for each of your colors.
Well, not really, but, or lots of water, but just, even a little soap pad there that you can put a little red with this road. A little orange with our road here. There we go. I'm going to put a little road right here. Tap that in just the way we did the clouds. Everything's kind of tapping in here. Okay. And then I want to do a little bit of an orange roof up here. Like that. And this is not light enough. This was lighter. So, okay, so now I'm going to take all the paint off this brush like that. See that? I'm not rinsing it. I don't want any water on it. But I'll wipe it all off and I'll add some white. So what I'm doing basically now is mixing colors on the canvas by adding more white to this side of the building. It's hard for me to just do it like that. There you go. Just something like that. We'll just do a little line like that. Okay. So we wanted to make sure we had that. And then there was another little roof here like this on this one. Just a little short one with some sort of little short shed here. The thing about artists is a lot of times they'll be out in nature and they'll see something and they'll paint it whether it should go in the picture or not because it was there, like you're an historian or something. And if you were making a documentary of where something was, then that of course could be an option, but most people aren't doing that, so I'm not sure why you would. All right, so this is dried up enough where I'm going to take a little bit of this kind of lighter orange and a little on one side of the brush, a little cad red here, and maybe a little yellow. Okay, now I've got these colors, and I'm going to go right over my dark green, and I'm going to just tap in a bush. You see how I'm doing that? I mixed 3 different colors on the brush. So I'm doing that. Can you guys see that? Yeah, see that? Yeah. So a little bit of orange, a little bit of gold, a little bit of red. And I'm going to come up here like this, and I'm going to tap in this next happy little bush of stuff. And fall is one of the times when nature explodes in color. And so you can really explode your pictures in color too. If this is too bright for you, add a little raw umber to it. And that would tone it down. If you're one of these people who said, yeah, I like this picture, but boy, that bright orange just is it's not my thing. Well, that's all right. Just add a little bit of little bit of that color. You'll be all right. So, right. So I'm going to reload the brush.
The original artist is Albert
Sisley.
Big Al.
Yeah.
Albert Sisley, Sisley.
So let's get, and you notice the shapes I'm doing. You're getting sort of the tops of these shapes, and they're kind of going that way, but there's a definite method to the shape. We're not doing lollipops. The only lollipop one is kind of this one he did up here, but it's got some darker greens, and then we're coming up here and saying, here's a tree. A little yellow. Now we can always go over these and do a few more, but you see how I'm just tapping it? And if I've got too much paint on the brush, just kind of wipe the brush off and start again. Yellow, orange, red, and just kind of, I just want to use this corner. If it's not working, I'll roll the paint off the brush and get it on the corner again. And just tap it in there with that corner. Otherwise, it's going to disappear. See what I mean? We're going to say that this just kind of a neat tree right here on this whole side. It's all changed colors.
For you, my queenness.
Is what question? Yeah.
Yep. Is the quinachrome nickel azo gold the same as azo gold?
Yes.
I would say yes too.
Yeah, I just don't say the whole thing.
No.
Yeah, it is.
You can't say all that.
Yeah, you're lucky I can pronounce any of this, you guys. Okay, so here's a little bit of this orange here on this tree.
So yes, they are the same.
Yeah. And now as we come over here to these, we're going to put a little more red on here. We're going to change the colors of some of these. Say up in here, this tree's a little redder.
Hello, Andrew. Andrew made it here. He goes, I'm having trouble with the internet. We're having trouble. I'm having trouble with the internet kicking me off of the chat all the time. So I have to talk instead of.
Hi, Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it. And I'm sorry that we missed you. Like I say, this has been a challenging week for everybody, I think. We're doing a painting by Sisley, if you're just Alfred Sisley.
Albert Sisley.
Albert, yeah, that guy.
Big Al. Ginger has a favorite new type of brush. Could you give me the name of it again, please? I'm sorry, I need it again. Please, please.
This is the Bristol-on. The silver Bristol-ons, and they're the quarter inch, half inch, all the angles, the short-handed angles. I really love this quality brush. They're really quite lovely, and I like them a lot.
They're a little bit stiffer and a little bit more spring in their step.
Yeah. Now I also want to do some lighter green, and so I'm gonna get a little bit of this yellow marigold and a little bit of ultramarine blue. Come over here to this and just kind of. Okay, let's put a little orange in. Let's just muddy it up, and let's get a lot more of this marigold color, which is a very translucent color, by the way. Here's this green. Now, the brighter the color, the closer it is to you. So the farther things are away in the landscape, the colors get dull. So you can't, with the exception of sort of fall, you gotta watch it, because you see I'm going to poke a little bit of this lighter green on here, just tapping it on there a couple places on these trees. See, just over this dark background. See that? And so what we're saying is that yes, there's some dark trees here, but particularly in this area right here. Let's use a little bit of yellow with that, and then we'll put some red with it. And that'll, red will, because red and green are complements, it will dull it down a little bit, but still keep it that, a reasonable thing where we want it. So I want to make sure I have some of this green color here. And I'm going to put a little bit over here. And we're deliberately making these sort of fall green colors. And it's just a tapping motion. People think it's more than that. It's not a brushing motion. It's just a tapping motion. And you get kind of good at the tapping, and you'll be surprised.
I would like to thank Mary for the donation that came in through the YouTube Super Chat.
Thank you. I'll definitely go toward, not only helping the scholarship, but also helping John and I keep, keep the air conditioning going. Wow. Just, I had thought, you know what? I thought we had made it all the way through summer and we had gotten,
It was so close.
we were unscathed. And it was kind of a shock to find out that wasn't so. All right, so you see how, let's see, I don't know what got up there, but.
I didn't do it.
All
Maybe
right.
it could be a bird.
Yeah, maybe a bird later. That would be good. All right, so now I'm rinsing the brush. And even though in an ideal world, I would go wash it. But you see, I'm on a white cloth and I'm doing this, so I got most of it off. Now I want something really bright. I want the yellow and the orange, cad red light. And I want to come up here like this. And I'm going to tap in this sort of gold, bright orange.
Well, that's a good way to cover that
Tree.
up.
Yeah, here you go, Birdie. You're behind the trees now. I'm going to say on the left-hand side here, I'm tapping it up, and I've got 2 or 3 colors on the brush at the same time. Okay, so that when you plop them down, they do wonderful things that you wouldn't think you could do because of that. See where I'm kind of plopping it down here like that? There. Isn't that neat? Now I'm going to come over here. Now this is dried a little bit. I'm going to lighten some of this up. Maybe a little bit here. Just take some yellows, a little bit of yellow, and just a bit. It's still wet, so I can kind of push it into that orange. It's not so bright, but I want a little bit more of this lighter color. And then we'll just do just a drop or two of this. And again, it's just the edge of the brush here.
The toe, as it were.
The toe, yeah, the toe. Okay. Now, lucky for us, there's lots of this. They have, one thing, there's not a French home that doesn't have grapevines. I swear, if they got any kind of property at all, somebody's out there growing grapes. We're going to start with the burnt sienna and the cad red light. And again, we're going to mix the colors, and we're going to do some more plopping.
Carolyn would like to know why you're plopping. Do you think about the light source in a painting like this?
Well, I don't have to because he did. So I'm just following his. Right? For instance, obviously that light's kind of coming from this is a little lighter here and up here kind of coming this way. And we're going with whatever Sisley did.
That's
and
Mr. Sisley to you.
Alfred. Oh, I think Alfred and I would have been buds, don't you think so?
I think so. I think he's a nice guy. We've done a couple of his. I don't recall what they are, but I know we've done a couple other ones of his.
Yeah, so we're going to bring some of this vineyard over this way, and we're just going to tap in these colors. And this is fun. It doesn't have to be a large painting when you do this. I mean, again, I'm simplifying his a lot. I've left out a lot of the buildings. I don't need to know every building that there ever was over here at this farm. I left some out. And I want some more of this kind of orange gold color.
Cherry would like to know what colors make a nighttime dark blue?
The interesting thing about that is there's a real science to that. It's a good question. A real science to that. The purple is very good to put purple with that if you're trying to do something kind of Halloween-y. Yeah?
Halloween-y.
Halloween-y. Yeah. Guess that's a word. I'm going to put a little of this dark green color in here.
Is it Alfred or Albert?
I think it's Alfred. Isn't it Alfred Sisley?
I got to go look it up. I have it handy. It is not that folder.
Well, it was. I'm going to do some. I'm kind of alternating between the oranges and the greens, and I'm not changing my colors because I deliberately want these muddy greens.
It is Alfred.
Yeah, see? I said that.
Hey,
did I
just
stutter?
confirming it. I might have said Albert.
Well, you know what? It never hurts to confirm.
It does not hurt to confirm.
We could be totally wrong. And
we would like to thank Michelle for the donation that came in through PayPal.
Oh,
thank you, Miss Michelle.
Thank you very much. Okay, so.
And how is a nighttime winter sky different? Oh, wintertime night sky is warmer. The warmer color when I was in Michigan.
Okay.
Because all the snow's bouncing the moonlight around.
Okay, so we're just going to, as long as I'm into this green, I'm going to put some layering it this way. It's fun. You just kind of use all the colors at once on your brush. You don't even mix the color. You just grab a few and see how it goes.
Grab and go.
Grab and go and just sort of tap some in here
Grab,
like
go,
that.
plop.
I'm kind of doing that a little
Because as
bit.
the Queen says, everything has more than one color.
Yeah. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to go up here. I want my sky to be, this is a little dark here, so I take some zinc white, and I'm just going to sort of brush over some of this and lighten that. Just lighten that a little bit. It got a little dark right there, and zinc white is a transparent color. So if you got too carried away, you don't want a lot on your brush, but if you got too carried away with that, you could tone down a little dark spot. You got a dark spot. I'm not saying you did, but I did, so maybe you did, you know, like that little dark spot. Now you see our little houses are starting to show up, are they not? Because we did this. And so here's the next, here's some white here, titanium white and light. And this is my next light.
I've totally lost chat over there now.
Who did you lose?
Chat on my monitor, but I can watch it on yours.
Okay.
On your account, but I can't do anything on that account because I mess things up the way YouTube's running tonight.
Well, it's been a thing, hasn't it? I've noticed that there's been I'm gonna blow this up. I thought that was a house, but it might not be. It might have been a road or it's a house or you know, the trouble with I'm feeling like Mrs. Magoo here. I don't know what any of that stuff is.
So you don't think that little one in the front there's a house?
Well, I thought it was a house. Do you think it's a house?
Let me have a look-see before you go.
Or it's a house or a road. It could be either, right? It's a house or a road, John. I don't know.
Let's have
Whatever
a quick look.
It's light here. And there was a little light, kind of light blue house. There was another little light blue house right here, a little blue roof right here that was small. That's kind of going right there. And I want a blue roof here on this house. It's actually darker in the picture, but I'm going to give it a bluer roof like that because I like that color. I'll put a little zinc white on this one. Lighten that up.
Okay, so that one that you have.
That one? I think that's
the blue and the
road.
gray. See, that's two houses there.
Yeah.
That other one you have, that's not really there.
That's not there.
That's not there.
Okay.
That doesn't belong there.
Well, see, this is why, you know, you got to know these things. I'm going to do a little bit of purple down in here just to suggest that there's another little building here, a little darker building. And, but we're just, at this point, there are no tractors in this. I'm sorry, John, there's no tractors.
I know that. I'm really disappointed about that.
I know. So then I think I want some greens. I want something kind of dark green in here. A little point in here and something else. Put a little purple with that. Look what happens. Yellow and purple make kind of an interesting green too. Because I'm going to have to bring some dark over this. So we're going to we'll bring some oranges on top of this, but we need to have that like that. Okay. And then we're going to say that's something else. But all right, so there it is. And then right here, we're just going to make sure that's a hard line right there on that edge of the house. And the same thing here. I want this to be a very sharp line. So I'm going to make sure these angles, remember we all talked about that, are twins, yes? We all talked about those angles. And I guess this is one of those double chimneyed houses, but I don't think we have to get too crazy with that. We just know that that's there, okay? Now, he had some fun little bush here. I think it was probably some hay, but we're replanting. I think it's hay, but you know, we're just replanting it, okay? So now I'm going right into the marigold colors and a little bit of white. And I'm going to just add some light here and a little bit of light right here. I think this is like a road coming this way. Well, obviously you got to get to this stuff, right? Suggest a road back up here too. There. We'll give a little depth that way. Now, this is the fun part. We're going to come up here with some.
Wait a minute. It Matters wants to know, how did you get that green teal color? I tried and tried with a question above, not enough to type. Oh, wait. I did your snowy church lesson. Beautiful painting. You used phthalo blue, white, ultramarine blue, cad yellow, and burnt umber. Yours was such a mint green teal color. I mixed the goldens, never got your color.
Probably needed, teal would be more turquoise and white.
So out of those colors, which should you have added? More phthalo?
More phthalo and
Yeah.
white.
The more phthalo and white would have kicked it right in. You were so
Mhm.
close, I bet.
Yeah, so I'm going
Now,
up
if
and
you
down.
had your color mixing journal,
Yeah, and we
you
can
would
show
know this.
that. Then you'd know. Now we're
That's
gonna,
what I referenced when I just thought of it right now.
so now I'm going to go here and put some white in. I've got another little kind of a light gold field here. So this is like a little bit of yellows up in here. Then all the brush strokes are now, new brush stroke, this is the new layers, are now up and down like this. That's what we're doing. Everything's up and down and overlapping. See that? That's the other brush stroke you learned today. Okay, so we've changed brush strokes. If you're talking about grass and stuff, we're talking about this. And we've got the gold underneath. And then this is going to be at an angle. So I'm going to take that right up in here is my orange. And I'm going to go down in this corner. I'm going to come up from here and start adding a little bit of orange up this way. And then where all this is, where my little path is, we're going to start doing up and down orange. Then we'll take a little bit of magenta, magenta color, add some up and down because we can go brighter because we're getting in front of stuff. Yeah. All this, everything's up and down now. And then we're going to come over here, and our brush is still kind of dirty, so we're going to suggest new brush. We're going to almost like apostrophes. We're going to just suggest some more miscellaneous junk over here, some sort of, and it's a little bit wet, so it's going brown on me when I push into it. Okay, which is fine. I'll take a little bit of burnt sienna, and so I want some of that dark green to show through. But you see, you start with the darker colors and go first. Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe let's put a little bit of the orange down in here too. Okay. So now, who's over here? Okay, so I'm going to wipe the brush off, not rinse it, just wipe it all off. I'm going to come over here with this brighter orange. Because remember, acrylics dry darker. You're writing that down, right? Acrylics dry darker.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't need to write that one
Yeah,
down.
so you're coming up here now with the brighter orange, and we're doing little dots, kind of almost vertical dots of little bits of color here like that on our grapes, whatever this is. We're just, okay, we weren't there. I don't know what it is. But these kind of things are fun because they're, I want some white on the brush, and I'm going to say, here's my path. And I'm going to wipe that off. Now I'm going to tap that white in, and as I go, I've got almost a salmon color on this path now. It's coming this way. I don't really want white. I just want salmon. So which could be, salmon is orange, yellow, and white. Okay, so we're just going to say, here's our path going like that. Then, and it's all kind of choppy, yeah? Well, it's interesting, isn't it, how you can just sort of build up something like this from really next to nothing. Now, let's take a little bit of white and purple. And I want to come on top of this and just, ooh, too much paint. Watch that. So now I'm going to take that off because I don't want that. Okay, so here's purple, here's white. Okay. Now I'm going to come right up here like this and lighten this up. Right there for the roof on this house. Let's put it up here too a little bit. Okay. Okay, so it's that. And then I can put a little teal on top of that. There you go. Just tap it down a little bit so it's not so bright. Okay. So far so good. Now if I'm in the teal, now I'm going to take some yellow and phthalo blue and a little zinc white. And I want to come in here like this and tap in this row of greens. Kind of curving around like this, and they're kind of curving back like croissants. Got these little, and I'm tapping it. I want that orange underneath to show. So see, it's a garden. So now if I want that lighter, I'll add more white to this, and that would be the zinc white only. And I'll do a few little dots of that right on top while this is still wet. On, say on the right-hand side of it. Okay. Yes and yes. We're building up. We're planting stuff. I tell you, gardens are hard to do, but we're planting stuff. Let's take a little purple on the left side of that and make a little shadows. Okay. So far, so good. And as long as we've got the purple out, let's make a little shadow on this side of the road. Get it a little bit thinner. And it's tapping. It's dots, man. It's like shorthand. Yeah, this is kind of painting shorthand, isn't it? Would you say that's a good thing? Kind of painting shorthand. You're saying what something is, but you're not. Then we'll take a little bit of this dark purple, just in a few places, and add a few little contrasting dots of dark.
So like you can get the viewer involved in your painting.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit of shorthand. And then, let's see, we should probably have some of that over there too. And I haven't put the farm person in yet. But I'm going to put a little bit of shadow right under here like that, kind of break up where there's a little field here, and I've got my shadows are the kind of little berms. There you go. So far so good. Yes and yes. So any more questions, John?
No, my queenness.
So then while we're doing that, I'll let that sit for a minute. I want to show you some stuff. We talked about some of the stuff that we've done. And one of the things we can learn from the old masters is how to come up with colors for modern paintings. Because you can go back to a painting like this, and then maybe you could find a landscape. It's a challenging thing. Find a landscape, maybe a photograph of something current, and could I use these colors and paint it, maybe do this style of sky, regardless of what the photograph had, all right? Here's a good, if you'll zoom out, John, here's a good example of a painting that's in our academy. And it's these two barns, and the original photograph was just some plain old barns. And it's all done with a palette knife and layers of paint. But the color scheme was from Gauguin, and an earlier farm scene, which we have the tutorial of in our academy. But that was the genesis of these colors that I used for this building. And I did it specifically to show you how you could take something, what you can learn from the masters. What can they teach you about color scheme and lights and darks and center of interest and all that stuff. And then I wanted to just, this past week, we released our Fluffy Cat. That is now an Academy lesson, 12 by 12, step by step. We've got a lot of different things that we offer in our Academy of Fine Art and Acrylic Painting. If you are not a member, now's the time to join. Come January, our members that are current, that have, that stay with us, have their prices grandfathered in. What that means is they don't go up. But if you were to join after January, the prices were going to go up a lot, you guys. And because we have to do it everything happened, I don't know, I guess it was we kind of made it through COVID and did some stuff, and then everything just went up about 30%, didn't it? Everything we buy, everything we get, you probably know.
We've also held the prices for 3 years.
We've held those prices for 3 years. We just couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, and I don't think we're doing senior discounts anymore, are we?
No.
So if you're a senior and you want to keep your discount, you've got to stay in the academy. You don't think, well, I'll drop out for, because come the first of the year, it's all going up. All right. So someone will say, well, is my price going up? Well, not if you don't drop out. No.
As long as you stay an active member, you keep the price you signed up at.
Yeah, you keep an active. Yeah, exactly right. That's just exactly right, John. So, and we've got some people that are paying 2016 prices.
Yep.
This is now where you come in. Everything was kind of loose before, right? But now you're going to come in and you're going to start getting some contrast going in here.
I'm so happy to be a member. Do you have any black cat painting tutorial? We have a black cat, don't we?
Yeah, we got a black cat.
Isn't
absolutely.
That what,
Socks the cat. It's black and white. Does that count?
Well, no, that's not black.
No?
Don't be silly. Are you being silly over there?
Yeah, probably.
A black and white cat is not a black cat. I'm sorry.
I'm putting a little purple. I'm just kind of taking a little brush now and just suggesting another little house back here with a little bit of kind of purple and something back there, a little one in the distance. And see how I can go back with a small brush now. And this is a wonderful one. This Bristol-On number 2. I just love this brush. We'll come in here with our little tiny brush here.
I got that originally for me. You scarfed it already.
Well, why wouldn't you want? Who wouldn't want this brush? And now this is something too. I'm not trying to hold my hand out here and do this. I'm bracing it. Brace your arm on something. If you're painting on an easel, put one arm in front of the other and brace it. Okay? Brace your arm on something before you do stuff like that. All right? Don't paint with your hand above your ear. Either move the easel, the painting, or the chair.
How do you do that when you're painting with something that's laying down like that?
Well, that's, just for me, you can see I've got my hand under the arm under it, or I can do it, I'm just resting this part of my arm on the table there's a little ledge here, and I'm resting my arm on that.
Do you gift certificate? Yes, we do give gift certificates. Just have to contact us so we can work out the details.
And if there's somebody you'd like to help out in scholarship when you're with your donation, you say, I'd like to scholarship somebody. I really like, feel free to do that too.
Yeah.
See how it's starting to look like a little house now? Why? Because we've got, we've added a few little details. We didn't have to have a lot, right? But we've added, and we're not outlining everything. You'll notice that that's the other thing you want to write down. He had something here. I don't know why, but we'll put it there because apparently it was important on the roof. You don't want to get in the habit of outlining things. And it's easy to do because you learn to draw. If you draw, everything's outlined. But if you do advanced drawing, you'll notice where they'll just do lines. They won't do an outline per se. Okay. And let's see. So now we're just adding a few little details. I put my person in the front too. We've got a person we're going to add. Now, we're going to be doing an auction.
Starting Friday, if I get my act together.
They're going to try and have it out by Friday.
Started Friday.
So it's going to start Friday, and it's it was a sort of we wanted to give, I know we had a little bit of trouble in the past, maybe collecting, from some people. Most everybody's just terrific. And so I wanted to make sure that we were, that we let everybody know we have the auction. You can register it. It'll be really nice. We expect it to be fun. There's some water here. I'm going to come up here with a little blue now and white and put some sky color back. Like, for instance, I could put some trees here just by painting the negative space. It implies some trunks. So if you got too carried away with your green and you didn't allow for some birds to fly through, you can come back and poke a few holes in your trees. Don't forget you have the ability to let them breathe, so to speak, yes? Where you think you might need them. Not necessarily where I did them, but where you think you might have needed them. And then we've got this one fun, we're going to do this too. He did put this fun little tree up in here, but I'm going to have to do something else first. So, I wanted to just mention a few auction pieces, John. They're way over there. Can I? I'll look for our newsletter. We'll send you out a newsletter, you guys, too, and let you see what some of the stuff is. And if there's any of the tutorials in the past you would like to see in an auction, we haven't got our final stuff in yet. So if there's something that is coming to mind, but of course we're open for suggestions, yes? And let's do a little bit of gold with that. So I want to lighten up this, some green along here like that. And put a little bit in here like this. Okay, so we just So be sure to tell us. And let's see what else I was going to do. Oh, John, can you? I'm going to keep going here. We need to do the drawing for last week's Monday's secret word, because those of you who stuck it with us till the end, we did do a secret word, and there will be a drawing tonight for it. Put a little green back over here too. Okay. So John's going to be looking at that in a second. And then when he's going to be doing the drawing, you guys, we'll do a drawing too, for the Salvador Paint kit, which is, I would show you one, but we took them all to our trip with us.
Can you reach them? You want me to get up and get them for you?
What?
The painting?
The paintings. Well, it would be good to, let's see, I'm going to knock something over here. Oh boy. This is sad. Okay. Well, we're going to be drawing for the Salvador kit. Everything else went on
You
the
did
floor.
all that to get that?
I did. We're drawing for that, and also for the
So I know I'm going to be doing tonight.
Quintessential Color Mixing Journal.
Not
which
ours,
is-
though.
Not ours. You're going to be getting the videos that go, the 13 or whatever plus videos.
That's 13
go-
hours of videos.
13 hours of videos that go to learn to mix color. People have told us this is has helped them absolutely the most. This is the quintessential way to learn to mix colors. You can take 12 regular tubes of professional acrylics plus 2 bonus colors and white, and you can make just about anything. And we're going to show you how to do that. And in this, if you don't have one of these, give yourself this for Christmas. It is fabulous. But someone will be winning this tonight, and it's in our academy for over $100 as a downloadable lesson. Somebody will be winning the videos for that tonight. Someone else for the acrylic paint set. Yes, yes.
Yes and yes.
All right.
Let me just respond to Sylvia, since I can't type to you, Miss Sylvia. I do not see anything from you on the contact us number 233. So I don't know where you wrote that.
This is a little lighter yellow here. Now it's
Oh, I bet
white.
you're on the old system somewhere. Sylvia, can you make sure you use the new system on the new website? All right. Am I firing up the?
John's going to fire up that, and I'm lightening up the. You see how? Remember, I told you that light colors bring your eye forward. You see what I'm doing here with a little bit of this light yellow color and some lighter orange here, like that. Just sort of a combination of mixing all these up here, and then I'm tapping them in. That's that up and down brush stroke, and we're just tapping, tap, 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 tap. Yes, overlapping and tapping. And then I
It does
want
so
a
much
little bit
better
of a
when you do the
peach
sound
over
effects.
here, mostly white, because he had some light back here, and I want to make sure I have that
Wait a minute,
for
I'm
our
trying to find my mouse. He's over
building.
there. I had a runaway mouse. All right, so are you painting or am I drawing?
You're go ahead. Go ahead. John's going to draw. I'm going to dry. Ha! Yes.
You're
Draw.
muted. You're gone. I muted you. As much as it mutes her. All right, we're going to be doing the drawing for last week. During this show, I believe the secret word was mill and Salvador kit. Yep. So let me copy the URL for the video. We use the YouTube random comment picker. I put that in there. We filter out the duplicates. We include replies. And the text we want is mill. This is going to be for the Quintessential Mixing Journal tutorial. We had 47 entries, as you can see right here. We'll go ahead and pick somebody at random. Regina Ferrigno? I think that's how you would say it. Ferrigno. So that is the winner of the Quintessential Color Mixing Journal tutorial. I have your mic on, Queen, just in case you wanted to say something.
Good. That's awesome. You're going to love that. And, you'll make it yourself, and you can add to it. This John and I refer to the one I made all the time because sometimes you want a certain color, make sure you see exactly how to do it. Yes?
All right, so we're going to go back and do the Salvador kit now.
Yeah, Salvador kit. Somebody's going to get this. And while we were traveling, we did some paintings. I think I showed you a few. We did about 10 or 12 when John and I were traveling, and just used the Salvador paint kit and the one of these miniature stay wet palettes that lasted the full 3 weeks we were gone, and
and the big one at home still stayed wet.
And it's the one at home we were doing stayed wet. I mean, these are really nice, but you have to be careful. If you get them sponged too wet, why then
you get runny colors.
You get runny colors, which you don't want. So go ahead.
All right, and picking for that one is Judy Case.
Oh, congratulations,
So Judy Case, you have 10 days to notify us with your mailing address. Use to contact us on acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com. The link is in the description below. Wow, that sounded like an official message, didn't it?
Didn't it sound just like that? I'm going to put my little person in.
Thank you, everybody, who participated. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we really appreciate all the help tonight. That's, it was very, very nice, and we thank you very much for that. I'm going to come up here and lighten this rooftop a little bit now. Everything's about layers, right? And the same thing here. I want a little bit of a
all about layers and
the layers, and I'm going to put a little person here. Just not much. It's just almost not quite a stick figure, but it's close, right? And so this is where they're pretty small. They're just kind of hunched over here, and there's okay, here's our little person, and then they've got this little backpack on, and just gonna blow that up so I can see it, because you don't really see the person. You're just suggesting there's a little person here, just with color. There's a little light color for the face, not white, but almost a peach color, and then there's like a dark brown color for the hat or the hair, whatever that is.
Do you use some mediums? We do, but not in this particular painting.
There's no mediums in this painting. This is just paint, right? And
the checker just submitted a question on the old site. Where does that go? I should still come in.
I want an arm. I want this person kind of hunched over, like that, and they've got like a backpack on or something. And just a kind of very light something up here like this on their back. And then there's this kind of purple line that's going over here. There's a little bit of something here. I'll just make their head up a little darker here. Back of their head. There you go. And got a little person right here. And again, that's all there is. There's just not too much of this person. We're just suggesting that it's there. And the other way we can suggest it is to do this sort of dark green shadow. Someone asked us about the light direction. Obviously the light's coming from this way, so that's where the shadow is behind this person. So if you've got so you can set this little tiny person there, and we'll just do a few. We're not outlining, but occasionally we'll put like some little darker colors where we want a little more definition. All right, and the same thing here. We want this tree. I want a little tree right here, kind of in our garden. And I'm gonna just say, here's a little wiggly tree. And the reason that sort of gives some scale to the person. Does that make sense? And so there's another one back here that will just suggest a little part of this tree back in here like that, kind of climbing up the hill. And again, we took just a portion of this painting. We didn't do the whole thing, but we wanted to show you how you'd go about painting it. So, I mean, that's the key. We did not do the whole thing, but we did kind of show you how you might do it. And I'm sure he did this much larger than I'm doing it too. And so, but you don't want to get overwhelmed. The idea behind painting something like this is to not get overwhelmed with the details. Does that make sense? So, like, for instance, I know that I want this person to show up, so it's lighter behind him. And maybe I'll have a little bit of light coming through this way, but not quite that much. So I'll go back and, play with the lights just a little bit. Here's our house.
For those that are just joining us late, this is an 8x10.
Yeah, it's a little 8x10. It's sort of fun. We're kind of getting out sort of the stops and some of the colors. And I'm going to put a little bit more orange on our road here. Now, my road got a little wide. So back here, I want to just kind of, my little path here got a little wide, so I want to make it a little bit more narrow. So kind of things that kind of a perspective trick where it's wider and then it goes narrower. And there was a little, I'm going to do a little green bush over part of this house right here like this and break that up a little bit. Kind of take some phthalo blue and a little bit of yellow and maybe do just a little bit of green bushes right here. Just kind of break that little house up right there. And kind of do something lighter with it so it shows up more. This is where you don't want white, but you want a lighter color. There you go, something like that. And then I will take some light burnt sienna and come along this side of the tree and tap it on here. Because I didn't dry the tree, I'm going to have to just dot it on because that's over that wet color. And it'd be faster to just dry it than do what I'm doing because I can't. It's going to, like mopping a floor, it's going to pick up the dark color underneath. But I want it to be lighter.
I got no idea if we're still transmitting.
Are we not transmitting?
My counter's not counting.
No?
Well, the chat's going by. We must be.
Okay, so we got some, we're just putting a few little trees and just there might be something here, like some, fall doesn't happen all at once. Have you noticed that? That the colors all don't change immediately. And so when you're putting something like this in, you can suggest just by like little U kind of motions, like little, like half a U. You can suggest something here like that with this tree right here in the front. Just maybe a few little sad little leaves left. And I want something brighter on her or him or whoever this is.
I believe it's a lady.
There. So just to kind of suggest that there they are. And let's see, make that a little wider here. That little shadow. And so now I'll look at this and say, all right, well, one thing they did that was really cool, and I don't want to use my good brush for this. Oh no. No. We want to use a kind of a brush we're not as fond of. So let's take some zinc white and ultramarine blue. Okay. Now you see where there's a chimney here. Now we're gonna go. Here's your other fourth brush stroke thing I'm gonna show you. We're gonna go. We want the whole edge of the brush. We're gonna put it like this, and rather than do that, we're gonna zigzag it. So let's try it with just the point. We want it to. You don't want a straight line for the smoke, you guys. So practice on something else. And I think I want it more, even some purple in it. So I want a wisp of smoke coming up like that and curving. Yeah, something more like that. So now that I know, now that I have practiced this, I feel that we are now empowered to put the smoke. Yes. And then this part should be less. Barely see it. So there's our smoke. There we go. There's our smoke coming out of the chimney. Now, what happens if you got too wide? Well, just come in here with a little purple and skinny it up. If you didn't get it thin enough, just make it thinner. Yeah?
Thin it up.
Thin it up. Now, all in all, I don't know, John, if you've been showing anybody any of Sisley's stuff, have you?
Been showing what?
Any of this? Have you been showing the painting that we're actually doing? Is it up there? Or we're just ad-libbing for people?
Yeah, they'll have it.
They're seeing it?
Yeah. You can't see much from it. Small.
Well, I can see where I want it to be lighter on this side of some of these bushes, so I'm going back with my golds and yellows and lightening up, and oranges, lightening up, just using the corner of the brush again, and lightening up some of these colors.
So if you're going to do this painting larger, would you make your brush strokes larger? And are they larger in the foreground? I'm not quite sure I understand.
Well, the smaller that you are, the farther back they go. You can see he gave you the cheat sheet, and his was pretty large. But if you blow it up, they're still small. But your brush strokes change as you go forward. Like these are straight up and down. I'm not using the corner of the brush, right? And I want some brighter orange up in here now, where the
when you do shadows, would it be better to water them down a little bit so it's more translucent, or is it always better to go dark?
Well, no, shadows. If you study shadows, you can't answer that question. It's the time of day, and with the shadows. This is why we tell you to use references. I'm just doing it the way Sisley did. I wasn't there, but it's the time of day. But generally speaking, shadows in the still life are different than shadows out in the countryside, right? And I want some light around
day
this
versus
tree.
A bright sunny day.
Huh?
A cloudy day versus a bright sunny day. You have different color shadows.
Different, absolutely. Different colors, different shadows.
Different opacities.
You see how
we like to use references.
Yeah, just don't try to make it up. It's just it shows, and it's silly because if you can do so much better than that.
And we know you can.
And
how'd that happen?
Well, I'm just taking a little zinc white and going over it too, and that'll lighten it. And I want the edge of this house lighter too now.
We're getting some buffering out there. You just keep going because we're recording it.
Are we? Okay, so all right. There's
I think YouTube's having issues today.
Well, it may be, and I'm going to just put in a little. I'm having fun here because I'm adding here's some little bright reds and oranges, and this is where you use all your fall colors. Going to take some cad red over here. See, and then right around her. Let's get her some brighter reds here like that. And where's our oranges? You don't want just one color. You want to break it up a little bit. I love this kind of painting because you just plop little bits of color here and there, and you've got a really neat picture. And, like for instance, he's got something pretty dark right in here. So I can go back. I'm looking at his now, seeing where I need to change something, if anything. What can I add? What can I subtract? Something dark right up in here like that. Into our house. And then I probably could have put another little house here, but I don't think we need to. I'm just saying that if you're going to be painting, like for instance, somebody said, well, this right behind the house here is in shadow right here, see? So these bushes are all in shadow right there. Just putting that made that house show up there to there. So, that's kind of one of the tricks. How you get something to show up and get a little distance. Something a little darker over here on this side. Because again, we didn't do the whole painting. We had to make a few adjustments this entire painting of the garden is a little bit different. Do you have the exact title, John? I think I sent it to you.
Yes, my queenness, of course I do. And I can share that with you. We're going to call it The Autumn Farm in Provence.
Yeah, but what was his name?
His name was A Kitchen Garden in some place I can't say.
Yeah, so if you looked up Sicily Kitchen Garden, you could probably find this. But of course, we'll have the reference for you and my version of it on the website. And we're happy to, share that too. And see, where's our little brush? And again, this isn't light enough. You have to almost go back the next day with some of these and say, where can I
rework it?
Where can I add a little bit more color? Is it not just, maybe it's just by the windows here like that. Or maybe it's just where this chimney is right here, on this straight up and down. Then maybe I want a little bit of light right there, just because I want it to show up. Or like a little more on the backpack here with this person, And that's the trick. Here's the front of her trousers, and here's almost the back of her skirt is darker because the light's coming from that way. So play with this a little bit. I think this was fun. I hope that you'll try some different verbiage with your painting. It's not all just flat skies. There's so many different ways to paint something. Next week, we're going to be doing another drawing for a Salvador Paint kit. We want to thank the Salvador Paint Company for doing that. It's not us; they do that, and it comes right from Salvador. It does not come from us. We're very happy about that. We think that's really nice, and we'll probably do another downloadable lesson, something that might surprise you. We've got some great paintings coming up. John, are we going to do anything on Friday to celebrate the auction? Do you want to do a little fast something on Friday?
That will be yet to be announced, so make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell.
Yeah, do that because we've got...
because it depends if I get everything done.
Yeah, it just depends. But, keep in mind for for our news.
Because we kind of lost a day.
We lost a day. Well, we had to replace that air conditioner. Wow. That was the whole day yesterday. And like I say, I feel very grateful that we even got one. You see how I've got this tree trunk here that's dark, so I need to put a little bit of orange next to it so it shows up. See that? That's what you want to watch out for. Wherever there's a light, there's a dark. And again, want to hear some. If you've been following us for a while, there may be some paintings you'd like to see in our auction. I'd love to hear back from you about that.
Put it in the comments below.
Put it in the comments below, and have a wonderful day, you guys.
Okay, I'm going to leave you with our auction outtakes, a little bit of humor, as we all could use it today. So again, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, hit that little bell, and we'll see you next time.
And thanks, mods, for hanging in there, you guys. Thanks, everybody. And wow, this was fun, wasn't it?
It's gorgeous.
She did it in 50, people. Look at her go. Did I say everything?
Yep. I think you did.
Was that okay?
I think so. 20-second spot only takes 30 minutes.
Wait here. One of the features that is offered on our website let's try again. Besides a certificate of authenticity on the paintings, which is really the best feature.
that alone. Haven't done click on the thumbnail yet.
I did. I said click on the thumbnail.
Okay,
Then I said it because there's a lot. Okay. Another great feature of our auction site is the robotic eviction. Start again. You'd think I drank, wouldn't you? All right, sorry.
All right, here we go.
Another great feature.
You want to go from the robot again, or
Yeah.
try to get that silly robot done?
One of the great features of our auction site is our robotic.
Robotic what? Oh yes.
Is the option of let me try.
It's a what do they call it? An automatic bidding system.
Okay, that's better because I can't say robot apparently and bidding at the same time.
But let's go for the automatic bidding system.
To bid, register to bid. Okay, let me start again. All right, I don't know how I can't.
Close. So close. Almost had it.
God, they couldn't afford to have me make a movie. Be there with a
Oh, we could never afford this.
We couldn't afford this. All right, the budget bid for you, and then being able to walk away and not worry that someone has outbid you. Well, that's still good, but
by a quarter. Don't worry about that. What happened to hard hugs from John and Ginger?
Let's try that again.
No hard hugs here, people. You're on your own. We had our hugs before.
Okay.
That's for a little hard hug. Just a little one. I'm not talking about the 10 one.
Okay. All right.